Good morning, good evening, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you might be doing. We wish to welcome you to the Silverlight Show. The Silverlight shines to illuminate that which lies hidden in darkness. For those of you tuning in today, we welcome you in. It's amazing what being a parent in 2024 entails. I think I can tell you this story because by the time you'll be hearing this, it will have happened. So, my brother in law chose to take my daughter and visit relatives that are coming up from the United States at a meeting point roughly 2 to 4 hours from here, depending on traffic. And while we were doing the planning and preparation and stuff like that, I realized his last name and my daughter's last name are different. Plus, he's blessed with those wonderful youthful genetics. He still looks like he could walk into a high school and be accepted, despite the fact he's in his mid 20s. And given that we are on the border with the United States, the whole idea of human trafficking comes involved because, let's be honest, we're close to the border. The police presence is going to be up because they're looking for strange situations, and God forbid I didn't protect them in any way I knew how. So it was a bit of a struggle for me to get them to realize how serious the situation might get. And I had to explain, okay, first of all, they both have different last names. Secondly, my brother in law has a nickname that the family uses that's not his real name, not even close to his real name. So they're in the car as a family, and most of them have the same last name except my little girl. They're going to say, oh, she's with me. Okay, little girl, who is that? That's my Uncle Trey Trey. It's not his nickname, just something I had to come up with in the middle of it. Of course, that doesn't match his birth certificate, that doesn't match his passport, doesn't match his driver's license, and none of that. And what are the police supposed to think? Now, they'll have the wrong impression, and with the note, it gives my wife's name, address, phone number, gives my name, address, phone number, so that we can respond to any situations that come up. Now, is this likely to be a problem? No. I'm probably being paranoid. But I'd rather be paranoid and have him have the note with him than not be paranoid and have to explain everything from, what is it, 119 kilometers away? I forget it off the top of my head. The problem we have in this society, and police are aware of it, is the 365-day problem. You can drive by a school, revving it up, going as fast as you like 364 days of year. But on day 365, that's when little Johnny decided that he was going to cross the road and not pay attention. That's why laws are in place. And even though it would be frustrating for me to have the police detain and question and all that sort of things, I would rather, by a long shot, deal with that headache than the headache of finding out somebody was missing. We've been proactive as much as we could, but these are things that you have to realize. Um, I can appreciate your child, your ward, whatever you want to call them. Do they still use ward? Well, I guess ward of the state. But whatever it is, if they're going across the street to my best friend's house, there's going to be no problem. She's going to visit her other friends. They're in the immediate area. You know, everything's okay. Because we can be there in moments and set everything straight. This place, like I said, is 2 to 4 hours away. The only contact we have down there is one of my uncles, and he won't be there for the next couple of weeks. Again, by the time you listen to this, that will no longer be the case. It's just the way timing worked out. But we don't have that ability to reach out to grab and say, okay, I've got my friend, uncle, aunt, sister, brother, whatever it may be in the immediate vicinity, they're going to come help you. They're out of our range at present, or at least our effective range. People don't think about this though. Um, when our little girl first signed up for school, my wife put all her contact information down. And I said, I'm a lot closer to that school than you are at any time. Perhaps it's better if you put me down as an alternate. Yes, you get number one. I got no problem. I'm not jealous in the least of this. It's easier for me if I don't get involved. But if they need a quick response, I'm the better person for them to be contacting. Because my wife works, and like everybody else in the world, if you're on your phone, they start getting suspicious. Yeah, even though there's a potential major problem, they don't care. Stop looking at your phone. And that's the only reason I decided to go through with this plan. And being so close to a border, yeah, there's a whole lot of situations that can happen, and not a lot of them are good. The ones that are good are perfectly fine. But with the paranoia going on with U.S. borders and the person that is going to be trying to be elected next year and his focus on borders and walls and things like that, it's really not wise to be caught without any sort of identification. So, what do you think? Am I being paranoid? I don't think I'm being paranoid. I've said this before. It's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. And it takes seconds to type it out. I I keep copies of the little one's health cards and stuff like that, just in case. I doubt it's gonna come up, and I pray it never comes up. But having those around lets me. Okay, the other day she dropped a form on my desk, and it was to get her vaccinations. And three of them I was sure she had already, but I couldn't remember what it was, when it was, and they actually said like hepatitis A, hepatitis V, and meningitis. I'm 99% sure she's had them. But then it's asking me specific. Did you get the twin rex, the this, that, the other thing? I don't even remember what they were. And I was thinking, it doesn't hurt. Like it's been a few years since she had them, and I don't know if they need a booster shot to that. If I give the information to the school, they're going to have a nurse in who's an expert in stuff like that. And because I had all of her information aside from what vaccines she had, and as it turns out, my wife didn't know either. The only reason I know is because I know she was out of the country in 2020 for a brief period, and they wouldn't let her go unless she had those particular vaccines. Basically, anywhere you go, they're going to give you a Hep A, Hep B, and meningitis, because those are all things that can really mess somebody's life up. Although I was wondering, and this is me wondering out loud, they want to give HPV, which is herpes. Now, as far as I know, my little girl is not into anything like that. And I understand there's a bit of controversy on the vaccine about what it does, but I don't think you can make a new vaccine these days without somebody claiming, oh, that's going to deform your child and make them infertile and make them susceptible to government propaganda. Just make up a claim. There's a vaccine out there that somebody else has made it already. But I also happen to know that herpes, 75% of the population has it. Um, I don't believe I have it, but at the same token, does it pass on genetically? There's all sorts of things I don't know. The vaccine doesn't appear to have any negative side effects that would harm her. So I'd rather she had it because, again, it's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. But because of all that information, I can't say whether she's had, meningitis vaccine, which I assume she has had. Our doctors are also quite good. All these things they don't tell you when you decide to be a parent or when you discover you've been a parent. And as you know, I'm fond of watching court TV and judges and stuff. And there was a woman. Now, I'm trying to figure this. No judgment in the next little bit. This is my Sunday session, and I'm allowed to say what I like within reason. She's living on $300. She has 9 children. This is roughly Detroit area. If you search hard enough, I'm sure you can find the video. And was she testing positive for cocaine or alcohol or something like that? And I'm trying to figure out how you make that happen with $300. I mean, I can tell you personally that my finances, keeping a roof above my head, keeping one child fed, although we could probably do a second child fairly easy, and that may be a future possibility. Because if you know what you're doing, you can cook for 2 as easily as you can for 1. You might have to cut some things down. You might have to make a little thinner burgers than usual, but the same token, it's possible to do it. Rice feeds a lot of people. Potatoes go a long way. I'm not saying this is an optimum diet, but, at the same token, after years, we've been teaching her to eat vegetables, and she's slowly getting into it. That's just her quirk, though. But then again, I demonstrated it by showing her the 14-day rule where you can get used to eating anything and even start to enjoy it with 14 days. We actually started getting her to eat broccoli. Getting a kid to eat broccoli? A kid that doesn't like vegetables? Hey, that's historical significance. But again, this mother of 9 with $300, how do you keep them fed? How do you keep a roof above your head? I imagine the drug trade got involved in that house precisely for that reason. Kids are expensive. Because it's not just feed them. You got to feed them, keep them safe. You got to clothe them. Kids will run around in the same ripped jeans for as long as you let them. My kid has a very, very small mark at the back of her foot, and it's just from her being active and in gymnastics. She came home. The instructor, I got to give props to the instructor. The instructor noticed instantly, looked at it, and said, put a band-aid over it so that prevents the rubbing. And, by the time it got home, it had pretty much stopped bleeding, despite the ankle being a pretty high intensity area. And I watched after it for a week, and it kept getting better. No black parts or white parts in it. It was just healthy skin. Boy, I should rephrase that. No infections, because infections either come out black or white on a wound. I should watch putting black and white skin in the sentence, especially when it's nowhere close to what I wanted. But yeah, we operated as a team. Now, had there been a problem, even with Canada's free healthcare system, you still got to buy Band-Aids. You still pay for most medications. They are working on that slowly. They're trying to get the diabetic insulin medication amount down, which is an admirable goal. But like I said, there's a lot of things it doesn't cover. Suppose it was major and it started to get infected, we'd probably have to go and get polysporin and something like that. All these little things to raising one little girl who's actually pretty smart, who's mostly obedient. Every kid's going to be slightly disobedient. Like, When I'm saying this, I'm going to give her an A on her report card. Not quite an A plus, but a high A. And I've been around kids that are C's and D's in terms of behavior. And everybody sees their kid as perfect. No, I'm not seeing her as perfect. So me giving her an A is high praise. But I see little things about her that make me concerned. But this, again, it's so hard to raise one child. I don't know how you get away with nine. It does not make sense to me. Like, if you're making them babysit each other, you still got to make sure they have the resources to. Mommy, I feel like potato chips. Mommy, I feel like pizza. Mommy, I feel. Any parent not heard that before? Exactly. And it's frustrating to hear because you want your child to have everything they want, but at the same token, things cost money. And certainly more than $300 a month. I could probably feed nine kids off $300 a month, but that's going to be about it. Properly taking care of them, making sure they're socialized, making sure they're not wearing stuff from the 1970s. Yeah, all that are priorities too. Anyways, I'll cut this story short because it's Sunday and I'd like you guys to enjoy your Sunday as well. So, wish to thank you for joining us for the Silverlight Show. If you did, please like, share, because sharing is caring. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. Don't forget to click the notification icon so that way you can be notified every single time that we publish a new show. And we hope you have a fantastic day.